So there it is, Bordeaux get their first ever Champions Cup win. It was 20-28. It was a super close, exciting game. Northampton pushed them all the way. They hung on when they needed to. They scored a few tries, but in the end, I think you have to say over the course of the Champions Cup especially, Bordeaux are deserved winners. They had to fight for it, but they did have a little bit too much at the end. Let's talk about the game in general, my kind of final whistle thoughts. Who were the star players, and also go into detail in the game with a review, because it was such a detailed game, swinging backwards and forwards. It's hard just to generalise as a whole. I do like to go through it because it was pure chaos at times, as it was always going to be, because both these sides play like that. I mean, especially Bordeaux, just go for broke, the audacious, and Saints love to attack from everywhere. So it was going to be like this, and it was absolute heart-stopping stuff. Heartbreak for Northampton because they had a chance, but Bordeaux, yeah, I think you'd say fair enough. I'd also mention the referee a bit in this game because I didn't think it was that great. I try not to mention refereeing because there's not a lot you can do about it, but when it's a Champions Cup final, you kind of want the best of the best, and it was a little bit all over the place at times, so we'll talk about that as well. But a couple of minutes in, and it was the perfect start for Saints. They kind of had to, you think, against the power and the pace of the Bordeaux side, and they did it just perfectly. I mean, it must have been near 20 phases. There wasn't a caption on the screen, but it was amazing. Quick phases, quick ball. Bordeaux couldn't get any slowdown on that ruck, and it's a clear game plan to go quick, as with the penalty Mitchell just goes. They know what's happening, everyone's with him, and on the next phases Alex Coles does unbelievably well to transfer the ball between his hands and stretch down to score. And I'll say it now, Alex Coles was, for me, the Saints man of the match. I think the official man of the match was Luku, and I think that's fair enough because his kicking was fantastic, his leadership, goal kicking. He's a class act, but Alex Coles has grown massively this year for Saints and will be a huge player in the summer for England. So well done to him. He was playing 6 actually and looked really good for it. So 7-0 puts the crowd into a fever pitch. We know the games can be crazy, and it just started with chaos and it carried on straight away. Jalabert was a magician, definitely a contender for one of Bordeaux's players of the match for sure. And what he did so well is he kicked on the front foot when Saints were backtracking, when there's space. He forces Furbank to run out, and Furbank, he cannot catch a break. I mean, he came off injured in his last return from injury, and this time he just catches a stray knee and he's knocked out, and it takes ages, and he's off after 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. So don't know if he's going to go on tour for England or not, but goodness me, he cannot catch a break. I'm sure he'll get some sort of stand-down period for that knockout. Then a seemingly scary simple try from Bordeaux. Power from the forwards. Moefana carries it up beyond the gain line. Saints are backtracking a bit, but lovely from Jalabert Boros just to work the overlap expertly, and it's a try. So very simply done, 7-5 straight away. And Bordeaux in attack, they're definitely looking a little on top. They're finding some holes. Jalabert inches away from another audacious chip and go. He's so good at spotting that space in behind when it's there and chipping for himself. Northampton players, they're tested with their defensive alignment and they're doing okay. They're staying in the game, but Bordeaux just winning that physical contact area at the beginning. An example, Dingwall getting dragged into touch when they're on a good attack, and just lost out a little bit physically at times. On 30 minutes, it's a really good back play from Bordeaux. Jalabert wrapping around with BL Barry, so 2 guys coming in from the blind. Good speed, and it looks like it might have pulled Saints in to get the overlap, but the final pass is a long way forward. I'm not overly sure why the ref couldn't see that one on the pitch, but luckily the TMO does, so Saints hold on there. And actually we have 2 back 3 injuries early on. Ram had to go off as well as Furbank, so Slight Holmes on, who probably isn't up to speed after his injury, did well actually and grew into the game, but you had him, then you had our Litchfield come on early, who is a centre playing on the wing, has done for most of the season, so not that ideal lineup. So that was a little bit of a blow, although they did fairly well, like I said, but that killer pace maybe wasn't quite there. 60 minutes, Roy Hutchinson, though, is very useful because he's so versatile. He can slot in first receiver, could go fullback, but I think they use Freeman there, and some good kicking as well, pinning Bordeaux back. And Saints get onto the attack, and their attack is actually pretty good as well, as Bordeaux struggle with their speed of play. So both sides are stressing each other in attack, and they're often keeping the ball in play, not kicking the ball out, which is why the game is so crazy. Then a weird one. 16 minutes as well. Tom Lockett has a shoulder to his head, very clear on replay, and the TMO inexplicably doesn't call it, even though later in the game he does for that sort of thing. And in this game, I'll say it now, Saints were definitely on the worst end of decisions. Let me know if you agree or if I'm being like a biased Englishman, which could be the case. And I've also noted at this point that Alex Coles is looking monstrous in the carries, but defence as well. He looked so good. Then halfway through the first half, we have the best bit of individual magic in the game from Mathieu Jalibert. He loves broken field, but this was audacious even for him. I counted on the replay. He either steps or draws 11 Saints players, yes, 11, and then floats an audacious offload over the top to Coleman to score. I mean, just brilliant stuff, almost unplayable. And since I'm on a reffing rant, I might as well say it in the build-up. Moefana fumbles the ball, deemed backwards, maybe it was, but then exactly the same 5 minutes before, Finn Smith had been called forwards when it was the same backwards. So not impressed with the consistency going on, but brilliant creation from Jalibert, so fair play there. 7-12, they get the lead. Yep, the positive for Saints is their ruck speed, and Bordeaux getting a little desperate to contest, giving away some penalties. Finn Smith kind of swerves a low fade, kind of unintentionally, and it goes over. But hey, I think that's a break they deserved at that point. So 10-12, and the star in the attack is Jalibert again. More amazing attacking kicks and offloads. One of these nearly creates a try, but a huge tackle from Tom Lockett saves the day. And Saints scrambled so well. They scrambled so well in the semi and again here. But just as they're about to clear, the ball gets squirted out of the ruck. Not quite sure what happens. Good disruption maybe from Bordeaux, and they get an easy penalty. So painful 3 points to go to 10-15. On the half hour, Saints building, decent attack again. But then we get a yellow card. Manu Vanua gets smashed in the head by the upright Diaby. And we saw one of those go against Northampton later in the game. And that's how modern defences are taught to defend. Head-up tackles are acceptable. I talked about it before. It keeps players on the feet. But you just keep on getting yellow cards is how it's going to be. Sure, they soak up and go backwards, but they're not dipping. It's just a modern thing. Let me know what you think. But then, since I'm on a rant, a couple of attacks later, there's a deliberate knock-on from Bordeaux. Clear yellow, because it's either going to be a try or a build-up to a try, but the freewheeling ref doesn't think it's important, so doesn't give a yellow. So some of the calls correct, some not. A bit baffling, to be honest. And for the last 5 minutes, Saints are dominating a bit as they're playing against 14. Henry Pollock spots space and calls the kick, and it is on, but he's just in front, so that could have been a big difference. He knows he's in front, so he slows down. And then a huge swing from that. There's a penalty, and BL Barry Magic regathers his own kick. And in the chaos, Freeman takes Pinot in the air before he lands, and that's a yellow. But then it's that man again, Jalibert. He actually gets his kick blocked, but somehow nicks it back off both forwards, Pollock and Lockett, as they kind of flap around a little bit, and he feeds Pinot. Brilliant play from Jalibert. 13-20, big swing there. But then, just before half-time, like the crazy game it is, it swings back. Trevor Davison, an unsung hero, brilliant jackal as he's backtracking, sets up a perfect launch play, go up the middle, swing back the other way, although it is a little obvious, as they say in commentary. Bordeaux don't seem to spot it, and they just work in and the outside, and Slight Home flicks into Coles for a brilliant second try. So it's actually 20-all at half-time, and the second half nearly starts like the first half for Saints. It looks like they've scored as they do a really clever line-out. It's a fake back peel to a front peel, and Pollock is in with a good handoff on Luke, and you think, here we go. But you look back at the replay, and yes, Alex Coles is holding in. I think it is the replacement prop, Tamafuna, and that does stop the try. So TMO correct there, no try, but yeah, nearly the perfect start. And then we get that mirror image yellow card. Prowse again completely upright as they're told to do, so that's a clear yellow there. So one each, 20-23, because they take the points there. Pollock saves the day as Bordeaux build up, and he waits for the chance to jackal, picks the right time. But then Finn Smith can't clear, so they just can't quite compound good things when they get those turnovers. But they get another chance to clear, and they've got a pod of 3 to set up the clearance kick. Davison and Lockett are the ruckers, and they just lose contact and they lose the ball. So a few poor basics from Northampton. They'll look back at this game and go, just a couple of things like securing the ruck. But in another twist, of course you get that in this game, Bordeaux dropped the ball on grounding, so they survive. TMO, of course, all the ref calls kind of going against Northampton here. Spots a little leg lift, but Lockett makes a mess of them all, and they hang on again. So it's just bonkers stuff. Again, Northampton hanging on. And then, since I'm talking about refs in this review, then it's a weird one, as the ref is happy for players to be held round the neck as long as they're not twisted. It's like, okay, wait for the problem to happen rather than stop the problem happening. But he keeps saying it's fine. Mo Farmer kind of choke slams Hutchinson on a clear out, but he says it's fine, so they just carry on choke slamming each other. Not really good reffing. I've never heard of that one before, but let me know if you think it's fine. Then a bit of Bordeaux power comes to play with a big counter ruck just when it looks like Saints are securing their rucks. It did happen a couple of times. And Big Ben Tamafuna powers with a couple of carries, and Saints can't make those gain line tackles, and the second rows latch together and power through Sly Home and a couple of other Saints backs just to show that size does tell sometimes. And of course the TMO doesn't look at a possible forward pass. So 20 points to 28, big score there. And at this point it looks like the forward power may be starting to tell. Tamafuna and co winning a big scrum penalty. But actually, Northampton come back into it. Scrum, well done. They came back in and actually won 3 in a row after that, so fair play. But from that penalty, it's more power. Moefana again runs clean through tackles. This time it's Pollock and Langdon, go straight through both of them. And Northampton are leaking penalties for sure. Multiple 5-metre line outs. It feels like the killer blow may be coming, but of course Northampton heroically hold it up. I think it's Scott Young holds it up, and then Yogan gets one back against Tamafuna in the scrum, and they survive. So after those chances for Bordeaux, it's 50 minutes to go, 8 points down. It's absolutely still on. Finn Smith goes for a perfect wraparound back play off a scrum. They make 20 metres. It looks good, but Mitchell painfully can't find his forward runners on the rewind phase, and that's another chance gone there to maybe get 3 points, get back in the game. 10 minutes to go. Of course, the ref doesn't want to give a tackle in the air on Wright, but the TMO corrects him, saying he had to jump for the pass, so you've got to penalise it. So he was right there. I have no idea what he's doing. But anyway, Saints build up well under big tackle pressure, but 5 metres out. But 5 metres out, Mitchell's pass catches his own player in his ruck, and that's another big chance gone. So they could have come back in the last 10 minutes, absolutely. They just couldn't quite make it pay. So even though Bordeaux were good, I think Saints will be kicking themselves a bit as well. Then super sub prop Tarek Hafur is on for a Yogun, and he wins another scrum penalty, like I said, and another chance, but Craig Wright overthrows, vital line out, and to make it worse, Mitchell hooks Pinot in the air off a big Luku box kick. They were very dangerous. But Alex Coles nicks the 5 metre line out, and they survive one more time. 5 minutes to go, and the ref's on their back again, calling a very marginal, not straight, with a long throw. So I do think it's been a bit unfair, but again, let me know if I'm just moaning. Saints keep on going in attack, but Langdon knocks on again with 2 minutes to go, and that's pretty much it. 8 points down. Bordeaux in possession. Saints get one more attack right at the end, but Hutchinson crossfield kicks too long, and Bordeaux are the champions again. I think it's fair enough. They were the best team just about on the day and over the course of the season. But Northampton knows it could have been different. They hung on fantastically well, but couldn't quite take some chances. But they have to have heads up high. They don't have the same budget as Bordeaux and these French clubs, and they did fantastically well and made it incredibly competitive. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of that game down below. I'd love to know what you think as always. Do like, do subscribe. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.